My topic for the Renaissance was Da Vinci's military innovations/inventions, so I decided to do top 5 of the most well-known innovations of his, ranked from least effective to most effective in combat. Starting off at number 5, I chose the ballista. The ballista was invented in 400 BC. It can be classified as a giant crossbow, mainly because it's literally just a giant crossbow. The ballista was very innovative at the time due to it being one of, if not the most accurate ranged weapon during the Renaissance. However, it didn't just shoot arrows. Da Vinci was a very smart man. Instead of using it as a weapon, it was more used as a scare tactic. Sometimes this proved to be more effective than attacking the target. It would shoot giant boulders or flame arrows to scare the enemy. Because of this, it wasn't really the most effective in combat. For 4th place, I chose Da Vinci's spring-leaf catapult. Catapults before this weren't used much in combat. Da Vinci learned that these could be very useful for their army. It just needed a little bit of tweaking. Thanks to a rotating drum added on, the catapult would throw its arm much faster than before. This new type of catapult made this weapon very deadly for opposing forces. However, in order to operate at its best, it must be made out of a very strong type of steel. This steel is very expensive, so not many spring-leaf catapults were made, and accidents could easily happen if the user isn't trained properly. Because of this, the spring-leaf catapult was strong but rare to see. At number 3, I chose the Scythe Chariot. This is probably something you've never seen or heard of before, and that's for a good reason. These fast chariots weren't used for very long in the war, but the idea was pretty good. A chariot was already fast enough, but putting metal scythes on it would make it quick and deadly. There was a spinning scythe in front of the horse, and more weapons and armor behind to protect the rider. The chariot was very good at taking down infantry and groups of targets. However, they were eventually outclassed by new Roman inventions. For 2nd place, I chose Da Vinci's machine gun. This invention had a very unusual look. It looks a lot like a paper fan, except instead of paper, it's metal. This is known to be the first fully automatic firearm ever. The shape was designed this way because this made it very easy to take down mass advancing troops. The way it worked was, the aim of the tiers is out in rotation. The first tier is fired while the second tier can be loaded. This allowed for the third tier to cool down before its turn in the rotation to be loaded and fired again. This cycle would repeat over and over, making it have a fast fire rate. While this was devastating for opponents, it didn't have much defense. However, this would be the basic design for a couple of modern-day firearms. In 1st place, I chose the Da Vinci tank. This tank was nearly unstoppable at the time. Many of the weapons back then couldn't even penetrate it. Its design allowed it to move in any direction. Just like the ballista, this tank was mainly used to scare the opponents rather than attack them. However, the tank could be armed on all sides with powerful cannons. Up to 8 people could be inside the tank to operate the cannons. The shape of the tank allowed it to deflect bullets rather than tank them. In the end, this tank was practically unstoppable, whether it had weapons or not.